As a football player, there are going to be many internal and external factors that are going to have some kind of effect on your abilities and performance when it comes to training or playing games. These external factors can vary from the condition of the football pitch you are playing on, the temperature or weather conditions that you are playing in, or the level of ability that your teammates can play at. Some internal factors that will affect your performance as a player will also include the level of self-belief and self-confidence you have in your game, your own technical ability and physical fitness, and your attitude and motivation to put your best work in when training or playing matches. These are just a few examples of internal and external factors that will, in some way, have an impact on the way you play the game. However, there is one massive one that I would like to go over in today's video because it has potential to be the most important factor of them all. And what is very interesting about this one is that it is an external factor, but it is also going to have a major influence on internal factors as well. So in today's video, we're going to be going over exactly why sugar is the number one factor that is killing your potential as a football player. When it comes to your cardiovascular fitness as a player, having consumed a high amount of sugar as part of your everyday diet is going to really hinder your ability to perform high-intensity cardiovascular exercise. And it is also going to seriously impair your ability to endure long-lasting exercise, such as a 90-minute football game. This is because the sugar you are consuming is having a fast impact on the way the body functions and how the systems in your body are operating. For example, your heart is going to take a large amount of the sugar's effects because when you consume a high amount of sugar, your heart rate is going to increase. Now, in the short term, this is going to help you whilst doing a high-intensity sporting activity because now your systems will be running faster and helping you to operate at a higher energy and quicker rate. However, this is not going to be sustainable in the long run because if you are always intaking a high amount of sugar for energy in this kind of situation, then you are putting yourself at risk of extreme problems in the future. This will include chronic inflammation, which is going to stress the heart and blood vessels, an increase in your blood pressure, which is going to make the heart work harder in pumping blood around the body, and also high blood sugar levels can damage blood vessel walls, causing blockages which can lead to the stoppage of blood flow to the heart and other organs. So as a result of all of this, in the long term, you are actually weakening your heart, and this is going to result in your cardiovascular system not being able to operate to its best abilities. And as your cardiovascular system isn't operating to its best, how do you expect to operate at your best on the football pitch? It is time to cut your sugar down to the minimum because it is slowly but surely destroying you and your fitness. We all know that sugar provides energy and a high amount of that energy as well, which is why we have all heard of the term sugar rush because it provides high energy at a very fast rate. And like I've already said, this is a positive thing when it comes to playing football because you need that high energy quickly to be able to play at the demand of the game. However, after you have been consuming sugar for a long period of time, your energy levels are going to spike up and down all the time in a very irregular and unpredictable pattern. This is going to be a very unhealthy cycle of energy spikes and crashes, which will affect your energy levels for football training or game days. Obviously, you could get lucky and get a great energy spike for your football, but also you could get a random crash right when you are needed for your high energy activity. This is just completely unpredictable, and it is absolutely not the way to be risking your time as a player. You need to be staying at a consistent and healthy level of energy and getting your energy boosters through consistently eating a very healthy and performance-focused diet. Because when you do this, your levels of energy will become much more predictable and gradually over time increase to a higher base level. However, a high amount of sugar will not give you this benefit. And the final point to make about this is that due to this inconsistent fluctuation in energy levels, it's a high possibility that you will have a lot of energy when it is time for you to go to bed. And what if this was the day before your game? The lack of sleep you could potentially get in that night would definitely negatively affect your performance for the game you have coming up. And then this in the long term could also prevent you from showing your best in case you get any future opportunities. This is not a risk worth it to take, so get rid of the sugar and get your high energy from your healthy and clean diet. As a footballer, it is important to play at a high speed and with quick movements so that you're able to get the better of your opposition. This means that when it comes to your body weight, you don't want to be playing with an excess of fat stored on the body, because this is going to slow you down and you will play worse. For this area in particular, sugar is going to cause an increase in body fat if there is a high amount being consumed on a regular basis, because that sugar is providing excess calories that are stored as fat. This then creates a response in your hormones that promotes fat storage and a spike in your hunger. This is why after you have eaten a food that is high in sugar, you are craving more and more afterwards. And this is exactly how you end up consuming too many calories and then therefore putting on weight. And once this begins to happen, you are now much more likely to get yourself into a negative cycle of overconsumption, and depending on how long you stay in this cycle for, will impact how much weight you gain. And due to the fact that sugar is the most addictive substance in the world, once you get into this cycle, it is extremely difficult to get out. So unless you want to be playing football as an overweight, slow and heavy player, you've got to cut out this bad sugar habit now. Because if you don't, you are never going to reach the level that you want to achieve. The next key point to make about why sugar is destroying your potential as a baller is due to the fact that a high sugar intake can effectively lead you to become insulin resistant and impair nutrient absorption. After your sugar levels in the body have elevated, your insulin levels are also going to elevate, and over time, if not dealt with, can cause the cells in your body to become resistant to insulin's effects. This is going to cause big problems when the body wants to move necessary vitamins, minerals, and nutrients into the cells, because it is going to struggle to do so. It is going to really affect how the body receives and distributes these nutrients, as the insulin resistance will act as a block for doing this function. And now the body is not able to receive the nutrients it needs to properly function because of this block. Bodily systems are going to become weaker, and therefore energy levels are going to deplete. This will then make it impossible for you to play your best game of football, because your energy on the pitch will be low and your body will feel weak, making it easier for you to be beaten by your opponents. Also, linking back to how this high sugar intake will increase your body weight, due to the fact that your body is becoming more nutrient resistant, you will notice your hunger levels will have increased, because your body is demanding the nutrients that it is not getting, therefore leading you to eat more and more, which will then again lead you to gain weight. And at this point, your future plans as a player will be destroyed. Now, I have already spoken about and made a video in the importance of your recovery as a football player. And one part of this recovery process is where the body is going to be distributing nutrients to the affected muscles for repair. However, as we have already spoken about, with the high amount of sugar and the possible insulin and nutrient resistance, when your affected muscles are wanting these nutrients for recovery and repair, they are now much less likely to be receiving what they are asking for. And this is therefore going to hinder the body's progression in the process of recovery. And if the body cannot recover in time for your football schedule, training and games, then you're not going to be fully fit and fully capable to play your game. This can then lead to muscle fatigue and injuries and put complete pause in your progression as a player. And how are you meant to reach your full potential if you are never physically fit to play or are always out due to injury? This is why it is so important to be tracking your sugar intake or simply avoiding it altogether. Because if you don't, and you are still making the mistake of keeping your sugar intake high, then you are gradually weakening your ability to repair. For the last reason I'm going to give you about how sugar is killing your potential as a player is that it is really going to affect your mood and mental health. When you consume sugar, you are going to temporarily improve your mood. This is due to the dopamine release after it has been consumed. You are going to feel happier and satisfied. However, this is going to soon fade, as this effect is only going to last a short while. And after this spike of dopamine and energy, you are afterwards going to experience a crash, where your dopamine levels will drop, your energy levels will drop, and therefore your mood will drop. When this happens, you are going to be feeling moody and angry, fatigued and craving more sugar so that you can get this dopamine again. And as a player, this will seriously affect your ability to train and play games because you are going to be in a lower state of mind. If this is continued over a long period of time, then all of these effects will worsen, and along with it, so will your capability to play football. Also, one of the worst things that could potentially happen is due to the dependency you have on sugar for happiness and satisfaction, you are going to be way more likely to experience depression and anxiety. This is an awful experience in general, but as a player, this can lead you to playing your worst game of football, having no motivation or passion to play football, or even worse, completely giving up altogether because you don't see the point anymore. So as you can see there, not only physically is this sugar attacking you, but mentally it is breaking you down. And this is all going to lead you to possibly big setbacks in your football career. So, all of the effects of your high sugar intake that I have just gone through are happening all at the same time. And now you are aware of how these effects can seriously decline your footballing abilities, you can now choose wiser and be much more careful when it comes to your diet and what you are possibly eating that is high in sugar. Now, a lot of people might say that you only need to limit your sugar intake and that you can have a small amount, just not too much. However, in my opinion, I think you should cut out sugar completely, because sugar is the most addictive substance in the world, and it will only take a small amount for you to start craving more and more. And then, as you now know, this can lead you down a really dark path. To anybody that is cutting out sugar now, I salute you. It is not going to be easy because you are probably going to have some intense withdrawal symptoms like cravings within the first week of quitting. But if you can get through that and not give in to these cravings, then you are going to change your entire life in the best way possible. And as a football player, if you can do this and get through the difficulties of quitting sugar, then your development as a player is going to skyrocket, and you will become a player you have never been before. Also, a little bonus is that not a lot of players are going to be strong enough to get off the sugar train that is holding them back. So if you do, you could set yourself apart and quickly separate yourself from the players you are competing with. I hope this video has really opened your eyes about this topic, and that you can now go away after watching this and have a rethink about your choices regarding sugar. If you have any questions to ask or need any advice, then please comment down below. And if you did enjoy the video and want more like it in the future, then please like the video and subscribe. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And just remember that greatness is unstoppable.